Well, when it rains, it pours, doesn't it? Learned just recently that they went ahead and pulled Cyberpunk 2077 off of PlayStation Network. I'm not entirely surprised, although I still am surprised. Like, when you think about it, it makes perfect sense. CD Projekt Red kind of threw Microsoft and Sony under the bus when they told everybody, sorry, our project's bad. If you don't like it, ask them for a refund. And I guess they kind of took their game in good faith and put it out on their platforms, thinking that they were going to patch it, which, like I talked about in the last video, I think was a mistake on their part, but they went and did it. And now, by telling people to get these refunds, they're hitting the bottom line. And at that point, Sony's not going to take it anymore. You're releasing a faulty product out on their network that people are going to be asking for refunds for. Why would you have something like that out there? So, of course, they're going to pull it off. It only makes sense in hindsight. And it's just sad. It's really disappointing to see that, 8 years of ambition, people's works, and, people's hope for this game has come down to this. Especially if you actually look at the gameplay, if you're playing on like a PC or one of the newer consoles, or, you can sort of work your way through, the crashes every half hour or so on the base consoles. The gameplay itself is pretty fun. I truly do enjoy the game, but, like, holy shit. Like, who thought that this was, ready to launch in this state? Especially when you were designing them to be PlayStation 4 and Xbox One games. So, it's kind of interesting, like, how this parallels the other issue that CD Projekt, the sort of the big company that owns CD Projekt Red and GOG.com, had when GOG pulled down a Taiwanese game called Devotion. They actually never even released it on their platform because the game was critical of Chinese President Xi Jinping, and they, of course, I'm sure China came and complained to them about it, and not wanting to lose out on that China money, they went ahead and just decided not to release the game, which I think is kind of cowardly. I do admit, when when a similar incident happened with Blizzard, I was more supportive of Blizzard only because Blizzard had people on the ground in China, and in that case, there is a non-zero chance that the employees that are stationed in China were in danger. And, I don't care, what your morals say. If you got people in danger, you do what you got to do to keep your employees safe. So if they have to, kowtow to a government in order to make sure that their employees are able, to come home without being harmed, then you do what you got to do. But in this case, with them not being physically located in the country and just, putting out, a game, and maybe it's my bias as an American with, the idea of free speech and all, and, it being healthy to be critical of your government, the fact that they would not allow them to put out a game that has this, rather small, statement in it, just kind of rubs me the wrong way. So maybe this thing with them pulling down Cyberpunk from PSN is sort of karmic justice in a way. I really don't think they should have released the game this soon, right now. And I know a lot of people are, upset, and they're making the argument, well, if people were upset because they weren't releasing the game, and then they finally released the game, and everybody's upset again, or, they can't delay it again, because as we all know, the worst thing in the world is to have people on the internet angry at you. But, this is the sort of situation where you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. And part of being an adult is taking responsibility for your actions, and when you fuck up, just realizing that, there's going to be no good answer. You're just going to have to do the best that you can and take what's coming to you. I feel like if they had delayed the game, even to January, maybe early February, and taken that time to really optimize the code for one of those older systems, they could have still had a really strong showing. People would have had the money that they collected from the holidays, the money from the returns, from all the stuff you get that you don't really want, selling it again on eBay. And they would have went out and bought the game. This is like the most anticipated game of the decade. You can't tell me that people wouldn't have bought it in January if it didn't come out. But, they wanted to have it out on shelves before Christmas so everybody could start buying it up. And that led to this now, which has just done irreparable damage to their reputation. I won't say irreparable. I mean, probably if they release like a Witcher 4 or something, I'm sure that'll turn everybody around. But I mean, I haven't seen anything like this before in the AAA space, personally, in my, short 32 years alive. Even thinking to like Bethesda with Fallout 76, kind of a similar situation in that the idea of Fallout 76 I think was a pretty good one, because we've been talking about for years it's like some sort of multiplayer like Morrowind or Fallout 3 experience. You always see people working on those mods to do that, and so the idea for the game was sound, but the execution was just poor, especially at launch. But from what I've heard, they've improved the game, and I don't know that they're sort of backing off on some of the more scummy ideas when it comes to like monetization in the game, but at least that the core gameplay has gotten a lot better with time. So hopefully Cyberpunk can get to that point, because I still stand behind the fact that the actual gameplay and the story in that game is great. It's just that the technical execution and the marketing was really bad. And CD Projekt, sort of the big company, has been in hot water before with their kind of edgelord marketing tactics that just kind of elude me. But I guess they want to sort of take on this like bad boy persona in like the gaming realm. Well, I mean, definitely the bad boys now, and bad as in they put out shit games, which is just so 2020. This is like the optimum end to this year that you could imagine. Just who would have thought, the most anticipated game of like the last 10 years turns out to be dog shit. It's real sad. So that's it. Just, that's such a mind-blowing news. I wanted to make sure that I had a follow-up to that first video. Hopefully things will get better, but I mean, we still have like 2 weeks left in 2020, so who knows? We might not have reached rock bottom yet. Probably expect Microsoft to pull it off their store as well. So yeah, we'll see.